Hey, what's up everyone? It's great to have you back on my channel. In today's video, I'm excited to show you how I 3D printed a Homer Simpson sculpture and transformed it into a stunning copper bust with a green patina. I have always been fascinated by 3D printing technology and the endless possibilities it offers. And what better way to test my skills than by recreating one of the most iconic characters in pop culture history, Homer Simpson. But, as you'll see, my project didn't stop at just printing the sculpture. I wanted to take it to the next level and add a unique finish that would make it stand out even more. So, sit back, relax, and let's dive into the process of 3D printing and post-processing this Homer Simpson sculpture to create a one-of-a-kind copper bust with a green patina. Sculpsa made this sculpture with clay and 3D scanned it so it could be 3D printed. Check out his channel with the link in the description to see how he makes these fantastic sculptures before he uploads them for all to enjoy. There are currently 3 models you can download on Thingiverse. 2 are from the original artist, and the third is a remix by a third party. I decided to download the remix model from the third party because the original artist's cleaned up model was not yet available. I printed this model at a 100% scale in one shot on my Creality CR10S Pro. If you have a smaller printer, you must slice it into pieces using software like Mesh Mixer or scale it down in the slicer to fit on your printer. The first thing I do when adding a model to the slicer is ensure that the bottom of the model is flush with the printer bed in Cura, which is indicated by a light blue color. If it is red, it does not touch the printer bed or build plate. If it is dark blue, it is below the plane of the print bed. I decided to print this at 0.12 mm layer height to reduce the time I would need to spend sanding down the layer lines. Of course, the trade-off is that the model will take longer to print, but that is okay with me. Every area on the model that is red indicates that the slicer software recommends support for those areas based on the overhang angle you have in the settings. Although I usually would set my overhang angle to 65 degrees and turn on supports, I know that I do not need to support most of the indicated areas. I have been using this printer for over a year, so I am pretty confident I can predict when a print can survive without the supports and when I need them. In this case, the only place I want supports is under the chin, lips, and nose. I will use the support blocker feature to prevent supports from printing in the other red areas. Be sure to check for tiny red areas, otherwise, you might have a thin support print, which will most likely fail and cause you to do more cleanup on the back end. Although the support for the nose failed to stay in place, enough of it survived to prevent the nose from deforming during the print. The print turned out great, and I saved time and filament by not printing the additional supports the software recommended. After you slice the file, take a look at the preview. Ensure there are not any weird supports growing where you don't want them, and check the rest of the model for gaps and holes. If there are weird supports, go back and add a support blocker to those areas. You can choose the infill density of your choice. I went with 10% to give the bust some heft. One last tip. When you are in Cura, if you make a mistake, like I did when I changed the scale of the model, press Ctrl and Z to undo. As you can see from the still photos, the support under the nose failed. However, enough hung on the nose to allow it to print without flaws. There is a layer that drooped a little on the ear lobes, which I was expecting, and this will be easy to clean up during post-processing. The rest of the print came out great, and I will have to do very little sanding before I start painting. I started the sanding process with 80 grit sandpaper and then worked my way up to 300 grit to remove the layer lines. The bulk of the lines are on the head, so I did not need to sand the neck or below. Sanding is not required, but I like to remove layer lines to give the objects a better look. Some people choose to sand after the base coat is applied to see where the layer lines really stand out, but I prefer to sand before applying the base coat of paint. The copper patina paint kit I am using comes with its own primer, but it has to be applied with a brush. Their proprietary primer protects metal from the oxidizing agent that may get through the copper paint. Because this is PLA, which is plastic, I will use spray paint as a base coat, mainly because it is faster. After applying 2 coats of the base coat, I am ready to start applying the copper paint. This kit allows you to create a patina on the copper paint quickly. The only catch is that the paint has to be wet when you apply the oxidizer. I applied 3 coats of the copper paint to ensure I had full coverage. The paint dries pretty quickly, so I only waited an hour between coats. Once I finished applying the 3rd coat, I sprayed on the oxidizing agent. If you find areas where you want the patina, but it does not show up after it dries, you can brush on some more copper paint in those areas and respray it. The patina only takes 10 to 15 minutes to show up. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed seeing the process of how I 3D printed and transformed a Homer Simpson sculpture into a beautiful copper bust with a green patina. Remember, with 3D printing, the possibilities are endless, and you can take your creations to the next level with post-processing techniques like the one we used in this video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more exciting 3D printing projects and tutorials. And as always, if you have any questions or suggestions for future videos, leave them in the comments below. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.